Okay, thank you everyone for taking the time to watch my video. I like that. That helps a lot. Um, so I'll get this booted up. Just so you know, I did record it once before, but I didn't turn on my mic. So this will be my second time, but that's okay because I've just had extra practice, I guess, which is totally a plus. Sorry if my camera is a little blurry. That's because it's got a scratch on it. So anyway, to the topic. Today, I'll be telling you about alcohol and tobacco. By the way, my name is John Covill. So, like I said, the subjects we'll be covering are tobacco and alcohol. With each one, we'll have an overview, some short-term effects, and then dangers. So we'll get started with that. First, we'll start with tobacco. Now, you're probably wondering, what is tobacco? Well, I'm going to tell you. Tobacco is a plant that's grown in dry and warm climates. It's harvested for its leaves, and more importantly, the nicotine inside them. After the leaves are harvested, they have to be dried and fermented, and then they get turned into what they're going to be used for, such as cigarettes, snuff, or chew. Those are the three ways that people get those chemicals. So yeah, the tobacco is then smoked, chewed, or sniffed, which is what transfers the nicotine from the leaves to the person's body. And like I said, nicotine is a chemical inside the tobacco, and that's the compound that makes it so addictive. And it is also one of the most abused drugs in the world. If you look here to the bottom right of the screen, you can see its chemical makeup. So yeah, pretty bad stuff. So some of the short-term effects, and what I mean by this is like the feeling that I guess smoking gives you, or getting your nicotine, not just smoking, gives you. So nicotine is a stimulant, which means that it puts everything in your body basically into second gear. So it gives people a feeling of happiness and energy. Many people have described it as like a buzz. And so when the nicotine can reach your brain seconds after it is brought into your body, and then when it gets there, it will attach itself to what are called acetylcholine receptors. And these receptors are what is in charge of controlling the level of dopamine, like serotonin, in your body. And so once the nicotine attaches, it'll have your receptors release a bunch of dopamine and some serotonin, which are basically happy chemicals that make you feel like stressed out, or not, like unstressed, sorry. And just relaxed. And that's why most people use it, is because it helps them relax when they're stressed by the world. But sadly, what goes up must come down. Some of the dangers: smoking and using tobacco in the beginning can seem harmless, but over time it shows many dangerous side effects. These include many different types of cancers, all through the mouth, throat, lungs. You can get heart disease, stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, tuberculosis, eye diseases, and immune system diseases. And it's basically been proven to harm every organ in your body, so not a good drug to use. Most drugs aren't good to use, but this is an extra bad drug to use. All right, next we have alcohol. So there are three different types of alcohol: isopropyl, methyl, and ethyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol, or rubbing alcohol, is most commonly used for cleaning, disinfecting. You've most likely used it in your life. Then methyl alcohol, which is also known as wood alcohol, is used as like a solvent and a dissolvent for you, like stripping paint. They're also used in photocopiers. And then the last type of alcohol, which is the type that is mostly going to be highlighted in this presentation because it's the type that people use as a drug. It's ethyl alcohol with ethanol in it, and it's present in all alcoholic drinks. But the type of the alcohol in drinks doesn't change. It's always ethyl alcohol. What changes to make the drink stronger or different is the amount of ethyl alcohol in the drink. And basically, it's made by putting fruits, grains, or vegetables through a process called fermentation. And that's where yeast and bacteria react with the sugars in the food, and that helps create the alcohol. Some short-term effects are like the feeling you get after drinking. It is a depressant, So this doesn't mean that it makes you depressed. It sometimes can, but usually it does the opposite. Uh, Basically, it slows everything in your body down. Once it reaches your brain, the ethanol molecules, they're so small that they can squeeze in between the gaps in your brain cells, and so that will slow down parts of your brains and can shut other parts of your brains off completely. And that will cause people to do things or act in a certain way that they wouldn't usually. It can also shut down the self-control part of your brain, so you won't have as much self-control. You probably do something that might embarrass you, and then people sometimes, if they drink enough, they can lose memory of what even happened. So that's all because of the ethanol in their brain. And then some of the dangers of alcohol. Um, drinking in itself isn't unhealthy. Isn't drinking in itself isn't really unhealthy, but as long as you have a limit to it, because just like everything, drinking in excess is bad for you. And some problems that arise from alcoholism and over drinking include liver disease, heart disease, depression, stroke, and you can get mouth cancers and throat cancers. So, yeah, it's not good to drink all the time. And then another problem with over drinking is, like we said, losing control of yourself. If you get too drunk, you might say something you shouldn't or do things that sober you wouldn't do. They can all be dangerous, put you in danger, put others in danger. So, those are some of the dangers. And those are the sources. Thank you for stopping by. I'll just pause this now.